Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It is a beautiful Saturday morning right here in Miami, Florida. You're watching the Suzette Speaks show. I am TV host and attorney Suzette Speaks. And if this is the first time you're watching my show, I want to welcome you. We are simulcasting today on my YouTube channel, the Suzette Speaks show. I said that already, as well as on Facebook on the Jamaicans.com page. Thank you for your partnership, co-sponsors of today's stream, as well as the Suzette Speaks Facebook community. So welcome, y'all. I have a wonderful guest waiting for me. She is a multi-book author. She has a harrowing testimony, and I thought about what we're going to talk about today because if you guys don't know, I'm a woman who has many interests. Not only am I a lawyer, but I don't love for that to define me. I love to be defined by the impact I have on other people. So the YouTube platform has been amazing in terms of being able to reach more people and to have an impact on their lives. Now, I started my journey way before YouTube, planning events and trying to empower. I know that's a very big buzzword now, and some of y'all are over it. Empower women. Okay, fine. So when you see me on this space, I have a big male audience as well. So when we talk amongst ladies, don't feel no type of way, okay? Because we are going to have a conversation, I think, as I've seen on YouTube, issues that we face, challenges that we have in life, men and women can relate to, right? So we're going to try to come at it. And I always like to set an intention before I start a show because I take this very seriously. When I had my brunch, I was telling you guys that I've had empowerment events for quite some time, years now, for ladies. And I just had one recently, a women's empowerment brunch. And we had about 55 women gather at a golf course. It was amazing. I did some speaking and I dropped, some of my challenges and struggles out there for the attendees as food for thought. So one of the themes that I saw coming back to me while we talked, while we communed, while we fellowshipped was that everybody's acting like things have just gone back to normal. We were back open. We act like 2020, 2021 never happened, right? We act like the trauma, the difficulties, the setbacks, the failures, the fear just all of a sudden didn't exist. And I wanted to address in today's show what truly the work looks like, what truly the journey looks like, what truly the ups and downs look like for recovery. You hear what I'm saying? If anybody in the chat know what I'm talking about, I feel like a lot of us have had failures. A lot of us have been living in fear. And like I said, we just opened back up as if nothing happened and we just forgot about what really has impacted, I mean, on a soul level, each and every one of us in such a real way. So my guest author today has written a workbook. She's also had some very, I would call it, because this is the first time we've spoken in I don't know how many years, Mya, but I know from even the first time, and we're going to just, put it all out there. We met at a women's empowerment event here in South Florida. She represents for Palm Beach. What up, Palm Beach? I'm from Miami, represent Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, wherever you are, and around the world. Welcome. But I wanted to just say that to say, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what impact they're going to have on your life. You never know when your paths will cross again. But I don't think neither of us thought when we met that many whatever years ago, this moment would be ordained. And I don't take it lightly. And I don't think it's by accident when you meet people and they come into your lives and they make an imprint on you as she did for me. So it is an honor to bring her back. I'm going to say hello to y'all in the chat. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. She is going to talk about hit the like button first of all. I can't bring my guests up if they don't understand that there is love in this chat. Love watching. I see you guys. 26 folks currently watching. Let's get it up. I want 50. I want 100. I want people. Share the stream, guys. Like and share the stream. Because in this type of season we're in, on a beautiful Easter weekend like we're about to celebrate, whether you're celebrating Passover, whether you're celebrating Ramadan, whether you're not celebrating at all, there is a need for the reminder that hope is still with us, still remains strong, that even if you've had setbacks, even if you've had failures, even if you felt like I cannot recover from what just happened to my life, and I'm just going to go to work and smile and hold my tears back, cry in my pillow at night, be, almost in a sense of isolation because I don't think nobody else got problems. I don't think anyone else struggles like I struggle. This is the show for you today. We're coming today to do some work If this is your first time watching the stream, hit the like button. My guest is an author, a community activist, I would say, a group leader, I guess that organizational leader, I can call her. She's been, like I said, living like so many of us have. And when you live long enough, you've seen some things, you've gone through a few things, you've faced fear and failure. But what I love about her new journal is that she talks about the favor that comes with it. In spite of it all, the road that you've been through will be worth it. I know. It seems like a lot of hogwash. Everybody talks about this empowerment stuff, but somebody needs to hear it today. I'm going to bring her up just a moment. Y'all, welcome again. Suzette Speaks, already in the mode, y'all. I'm ready to do it. Y'all ready? Hit the like button, please, so I can welcome her. If you're watching on the Suzette Speaks YouTube page, hit the like button, share if you can, comment, of course. Let me know where you're watching from. Are y'all ready for a great show? I'm excited. Facebook, where you at? Let's go. The Harmony Pill in the building. Nice to see you. Good morning, RM. Nice to see you. Doug, what up? Nice to see you, sir. Glad you're here. I'm doing great. Thanks, Sunbreeze. Glad you are here. Jay Jackson in the building. Welcome. Chef Shapino Wagwan. Wait, Mya Auguste from Port. Yeah, dang, hold on now. You got all the business out there. Who is Miss Mya? She is Miss Mya Logs, actually. Now I love it. They listen. The world is very small. It look like some people know you, Miss Mya. Okay, y'all ready? Y'all gonna visit her website? Please check out her new book. Please, all the information is in the description, y'all. And of course, they have you as first Black female detective. Okay, well, Chef Shapino, hold back, brother, hold back. Let me introduce the guest, Chef. Bethlehem, PA in the building. Nice to see you. Lawrence Wright says blessings. Thank you, Lawrence. Yazid. All right. Welcome. Jamaicans.com in the building. Mental health for all is important. Absolutely. Peace and love, says Chef. Love to see you guys here. Drop a comment. Teresa in the building. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Saturday. Yes, the day before what many will celebrate as Resurrection Day. Like I said, Passover is going on. Ramadan begins. All kinds of, I love when we are in a calendar year where there's a confluence of all these major religions and belief systems. It's a very big awakening. I feel like, again, I pray to the Most High, and I just know that there's something real about what should I say, spiritual dimensions. Are we going there already? It ain't Sunday, but I'm ready for it. And I know that things can shift for people. I know that there are so many of us who feel alone on this walk, who feel like, again, they cannot come back from failure, but we're here to give you a different take on what it means to recover well, to become refocused, redirect, pivot, whatever you want to call it. All of us are going to have to do it at some time or another. It is not an easy road out here. And like I said, what we're not going to do is pretend as if some of the stuff that we faced just a month ago, before everybody was outside, some of y'all been outside, but I'm just saying, before most of the world was opening back up, there was so much stress, so much anxiety, so much trauma that we've all lived through. I don't like the feeling of, okay, let's just pretend like we all came through it and like it never happened. Okay, let's go. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And what I love about Mya is she is such a transparent person, right? Using her own life and the lives of women that she helps to be a testimony, to be a beacon of hope. So that no matter who you are, what you're going through, if this is you, not you, okay, fine. There will be a season though. Somebody know what I'm talking about. Hit the like button. Come on, y'all, as I bring her up. Again, the topic today is favor after failure and fear. That's the topic of her new book, her new publishing. I'm excited. Y'all can check out her website. Y'all ready for my guest? I'm ready for my guest. Without further ado, welcome for the first time, oh my gosh, to the Suzette Speaks show. None other than Miss Mya Logs. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? So good to see you after so many years.
I know. Isn't that crazy? What was that, about 2018, 2019? I was trying to think when it was. We only got to date it, but I thought to myself,
I think I want to say it was probably like 2016.
2016 is when I met you.
I think so, because I had just became a detective. So it wasn't that, yeah, it was like early in the game. So
time is flying. Wow. Yeah. So here we are yet again, my dear. Welcome and thank you for agreeing to come on today. How you feeling?
You feeling? Me. I'm
Awesome.
blessed. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
I'm loving the background. Let me get a wide shot of you. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the people, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Miss Mya Auguste. I am an author, speaker, influencer. I live in the Treasure Coast. I'm originally from Haiti. Big up to all my Haitians. I lived in Jersey prior until I moved here. So that's who I am. By trade, I am a law enforcement officer. I am a sergeant, but that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about me being an author, a speaker, influencer, from ashes to beauty.
I love it. I'm reading the chat. They're welcoming you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Like many of us who have pursuits that we want, sometimes we have to do what we have to do on the regular day to day, 9 to 5. So everybody, I think, can relate to that. Sometimes you have to do it. Hey, we getting the sac passe tu chérie. Okay, if I say it correctly. What up? What up? I'm trying my best.
No, you did it correct. You did it right. You did it right.
You know what? I just heard that they're offering Haitian Creole on Duolingo app.
Really?
So I honestly think I want to learn a new language anyway. So I think I might, because I think it'll be so useful living here in Florida.
Especially
Pick up some Haitian Creole on the Duolingo. Shout out to all my Zoes. Represent.
Yes.
Yes, Chef Shapino says, Suzette and Mya Logs. My dad lives in Port St. Lucie. Rick Carmel Jean says, "Hey Mya, looking fabulous as per usual." So we welcome her. Welcome Mya. They're saying, "Welcome Miss Mya." We are ready to have a good conversation, y'all. But first, please hit the like button. As you know, my guests are phenomenal authors, people with an interesting story, people who I just want to get to know and reconnect with, as in today, on things that are going on there in their lives that allow us outsiders to kind of take a peek in and also learn some valuable lessons. So that's what we're going to do today. So the topic again is favor after failure and fear. So I guess we're going to start from the beginning. Where we want to start, Ms. Mya? There's so much about your life. I saw your bio. Y'all visit her website. That I found very interesting. And I think, again, when people see you show up looking dazzling as you do, me always, hey, you always so put together. Yes, but things happen to me as well. I've been through some things. Thank God I don't look like what I've been through. But a lot of people assume, the dazzle. And I was watching, oh my gosh, I was watching a stream last night of Pocket Watching with JT is another YouTuber. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but anyway, he had Mr. Anton Daniels on the stream. I was watching it, and they were talking about Anton living kind of like a flashier life, if you will, now, and criticizing him because they were saying that, well, people who will watch him now will think that he's so, put together, and others will want to emulate that lifestyle. But he was saying, if you have seen me 5 and 6 years ago, I know if you just got on the train, you think this is me, but if you know where I started, you would know that I've earned this, right? This comes from work. This comes from day-to-day hustle and pushing and all that. So I want to get to the you 5 6 years ago. I say that to kind of set up a little idea of, the well put together, beautiful in pink. I don't know. We got the memo today. I guess it's the Easter holiday. But I want to start from the journey into, you talk so much about the book, in the book. So let's start with, okay, why did you write the book? Let's start there. Why did you write this book?
Which book? Because
The second book. Okay, you got two. So give me the two. So what was the first one called?
Bossed Up on Purpose.
Bossed
Up on Purpose.
Bossed Up on Purpose. Okay, perfect. And then now this book is when I was referring to Favor After Failure and Fear. All right, so take us to the first book. What inspired your first book?
It was an opportunity to just kind of join other women and talk about your purpose and how you followed your purpose. So when I did it, I didn't expect a lot from it, but it made me transparent and it made me realize that there were a lot of things that I was holding on to, a lot of failures and fears that were still trapped inside of me that I kind of just, how we have a problem of just pack and, compact and just put it on top and pretend like everything is okay. But writing this book, I finally started to tell my truth. I finally started to start peeling the layers of the hurt, of the pain, peeling the layers of the failures, and just unmasking myself and walking into my truth. And that's what Bossed Up on Purpose did for me, which led into years later, favor after failure and fear.
I love it. I think For those of us who are authors or aspiring authors, I actually have written a book that has not been published. I think it's cathartic. I think a lot of times we underestimate the value and the impact of writing to
Yeah.
kind of like release a lot that's been held in. I'm thinking about like I might have to join like an authors group to keep me accountable. But just going back to listening from what you just said to me, actually also just writing your thoughts down. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we underestimate that healing power of journaling, of writing, of trying to help ourselves and then indirectly helping others while we do it. I think sometimes we forget that. So Bossed Up on Purpose is the second or the first book. So now let's talk about the second book. So what was the inspiration behind this book, your new book?
Um, Last year I was sick, and I talk about it in the journal. I got real sick towards the end of 2020. Um, was in a hospital December, January, February for a week at a time. Throughout the testing, I found out that I had aneurysms, I had a growth, and at that time they wanted me to do radiation. But my mother's a nurse, so long story short, going through that process at 40 years old, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to be working again because I didn't want to put myself or anybody at risk. So I actually, at 40 years old, I did a will because I didn't know what was going to happen. And then in March, I got my favor, went to a specialist in Tampa, and basically said everything I went through was just a really bad migraine. But the journey to get to that was the failure, was the fear to give me that favor. It was God sat me down. It was for me to sit still. He moved people out of my life that probably weren't supposed to be walking with me through my journey where I am. Because sometimes where you're going, you may not be able to go because of the weight of people that are not supposed to be part of your purpose, part of your journey that are holding you down. So that's kind of I started journaling a lot, and that's how this book came to life because it really, really helped me with quotes and just being truthful with myself and digging deeper and trying to figure out like why am I like this? Why do I not want to do this? Or why am I afraid? Or what's holding me back? And my goal was that if it can, I hope that if it can help one person, I've done my job.
Wow. So health challenges
Yes,
can really wake you up. Anybody.
anybody.
We think we're going to be young and strong forever. My God, help us all to number our days, the Bible says. Because no matter who you are, we are just very fortunate to be living and to be well if you're not being challenged right now while, with health issues. So that's a heck of a story to be young. When we look at the age range of how people live and how long they live, 40 is not old. So
No.
when you're looking at your body and you're thinking, I have a headache, and now, wait, I have an aneurysm, and that journey, how long were you in the hospital for?
Each week was a week. So every time I had the headache, it made my right eye cross-eyed. So I literally became cross-eyed for a whole week, and they had to pump my body with 1,000 milligrams of steroids for 5 days each time I was in a hospital. So you do the math for three
Wow.
months, and that steroids not that much steroids in your body is not good. And then there was
Mm-mm.
a fear of diabetes, so I was getting shots in my stomach, and they wanted to push me for radiation. I've had three different angiograms, spinal taps. I mean, everything you could think of because they didn't know what was wrong. And they were trying everything. But every time I went through it, it was just like, God, please just help me. Like I was just at his mercy. And he found grace and mercy on me, and I'm still here. So I'm blessed and I'm thankful.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing that because everybody who has been through a sickness or a loved one who has had a challenge that is, beyond our control, it can really be difficult. It can be something that you're like, wait a minute, I did this right, I did that right, I don't quote deserve this. I've been living, be good to people. I'm a quote good person, but we realize in life there's nothing that is promised. Everything is a gift. So no matter who you are, we're not exempt. And I think sometimes even in our faith walks, we think, wait, I love God. I'm good. I do this and I do all kinds of stuff, but things can happen, y'all. And we got to really, really be aware that tomorrow's not promised. Thank you, Sir Hell Speaks. Nice to see you. Roosevelt Whitaker, good show. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome. Again, we're talking favor After Failure and Fear today, a new book published by this lovely lady, Miss Mya Auguste. You'll see her by her maiden name when I put up the website. Sometimes we start the endeavors and the businesses before we get married, so we got to keep the name. So that's why the name difference. Sir Hale Speaks says, salute Mya. Jay Jackson says, love your strength. I'm not going to try to pronounce the Haitian Creole, but is it Bonne Beni? Oui?
Bonjour, Benil. Oh, God bless you.
Oh, God bless. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Chef Shapino. As my guest author is talking about today, there's so many challenges that many of us have overcome. So this was in the height of the pandemic. So everybody was worried about the virus, and you were literally fighting for your life. It sounds like. So was that the time? Like, I'm thinking about with your book and the title being Favor After Fear and Failure. Is that the biggest fear you've ever had, or the feeling of fear? Or can you talk about other times in your life where you've also felt this type of deep fear, which has paralyzed you or has not allowed you to move forward?
I think this was one of the biggest fears, because again, it was beyond my control. It took a lot out of me because every time I was in a hospital, my body, I was just depleted. I had no energy. Um, I almost wanted to give up because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And at one point, I was just like telling my mom, just let me have radiation. Let me have the radiation. And I'm happy she didn't do it because there was nothing there for them to do radiation. So imagine if I would have had radiation, what would have been the side effects now?
So they thought you had a growth and you didn't have a growth?
So I do have a growth, but it's benign. But the growth wasn't causing my migraines and my eyes to be palsy. It was I suffer from severe migraines. So when you have severe migraines, it can make your eyes cross, which is why the steroids work. But they thought because I had the first diagnosis that I had a brain on the lower base of my skull, where the nerve is connected, by the biological medical.
Yeah, the textbook, check.
They thought that that's what it was. So the first thing they said was go get radiation. And my mom, who's a nurse, she was like, no, let's get a second opinion. Went to the second opinion. They said I was okay. I was cleared. Went to go back to work in January. And next thing you know, it happened again. I became cross-eyed again, palsy again. It was just that constant, process. So it was just like, what's the cause of it? What's the root of it? And it made me nauseous. I was throwing up. I couldn't see. I had no energy. And when you're going through stuff like that, you're really, you try not to ask God why, but in your heart, you're like, I'm not that bad of a person.
Right.
There's other people that's out here that's worse than me.
Right.
Why is this happening to me? Like, why now? Like, why at the height where I was in a position at work? It's always when you're like about to level up,
right,
level comes down. But everything happens for a reason. It wasn't my time yet. For everything that was supposed to happen, it wasn't my time. But those couple of months, it was hell. Like, that's the best word I can describe. It was hell. I was scared. My family was scared. My close friends, the few that I knew, whether they told me or not, they were scared because they didn't know if I was going to be alive or not. And I know at some point in time that we're going to die. But at 41, I didn't think I was be making my will.
That's crazy. Yeah. I think it brings a lot of perspective back to life because there's so many lessons in that, because again, what it may appear to be, it was not. So having a growth at the base of the back of the skull, obviously, medically speaking, that would be the culprit, but it wasn't. And there are so many other parts of it, like when people go to get diagnoses, that's why I try to encourage them. Second opinion is really important. And don't
third opinions,
or third even, exactly, because doctors are also putting together the pieces of the puzzle and trying to figure it out. So they're not always perfect, and they don't always have all the information today that they will tomorrow. So Favor After Failure and Fear. I am interviewing Miss Mya Auguste, and you'll see her by her I can't talk today. Maiden name here on her website. So when we are kind of dive right now into the book, I was looking at authenticity as a theme.
Yes.
And being yourself and being your true self. And I think a lot of us walk around with a mask on.
Amen.
A lot of us are very afraid because we have not been affirmed for who we really are. We are trying to, fit in or pretend, or trying to gain the approval of others, many of us, not all. Talk a little bit about your journey in terms of becoming more authentically you and living more authentically.
Um, I was one of those persons that I had to, look apart, be this, be that, because of the stuff that's happened in my past. I felt like, I remember someone told me that why do you feel that you don't deserve good things to happen to you? And that resonated with my soul because I never knew that. And sometimes
Mm,
you need people to call you out on your ish that
mm-hmm.
you're holding on to. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? I need to be who I am. Like God made me in his own likeness. I'm perfect, perfectly, imperfectly flawed. So at that point, I just started, when Boss Up on Purpose came out, I realized that I hadn't healed. So I started my healing process. I started going to therapy. I started realizing I was holding on to stuff that my father did. I was holding stuff to stuff that people did to me in the past. I masked it trying to pretend to be one person, but in behind the mask, I was hurting. Behind the mask, I was bleeding. It's hard, a lot of people are out here leading while they're bleeding, and that is not always good. So at that point, I realized that all this time I was leading, but I was bleeding on the inside, like an internal slow bleed, which means an internally slow death. So at
Mm,
that point, I wanted to stop. I wanted to be who I was and who God made me to be. And that came to unmasking my mask, facing my issues, facing my toxicity, because we gotta admit, we can be toxic to our own selves,
my Lord.
you know.
We'll be better to other people than we are to ourselves.
That part. I was
Just
giving
saying.
everybody grace and mercy. But when it came to me, oh girl, you stupid. Why you do this? Why you do that?
Yeah.
And I realized the power of the words that we're saying. Even when you mess up, like, damn, I'm stupid. That becomes
Or I should have known better is
yeah,
mine.
yeah, I should have known better. That
Yeah.
becomes so second nature that it's a negative mindset and you don't realize that you become negative. So once I started to realizing that, I try to watch what I say. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit on this show and pretend like I'm holier than that. No.
Right.
If you know me, you know I can get crunk. I am me. Even people at work, my job, my chiefs, they know. But I had
Mm,
to get down to who I really was and who God wanted me to be. And Boss Up on Purpose allowed me, in the book I talk about when I was younger, the times that I attempted to commit suicide. And I was
mhm,
ashamed of that.
mhm.
But when I
We're gonna
did
say on YouTube, we're gonna say self delete, but that's fine. Sorry, go ahead.
self
Hmm.
delete, self
Yes,
delete.
yes. Hmm.
I tried to self delete many a times and I was afraid to talk about it.
Why? Why were you trying to do that to yourself?
A little insecure. Um,
How old were you?
I started at 11 or 12.
Tell me about your family dynamic. Did you grow up with mom and dad?
No, my dad separated they were separated and my mom moved here from Haiti. So I
Hmm.
was love
Very typical story.
yeah, family loved me. I was the firstborn. I had
Okay.
everything until for
Yes.
10 years. But and
But
that's
you
when I was
don't, is it you think culturally speaking? You think coming to America, coming from a very Haitian family and trying to fit in, do you think that was a part of it?
no, I mean that might have a part of it, but I think it was just some stuff that I had to go through as far as like my father and just the dynamics of stuff. It just
Mm,
happened.
mm.
And so I just kept going, kept doing it, and self-deleting. And then when I wrote about it on the book, in the first book, and when I would go speak for work, they would introduce me. And like with that, the reason why is because I was so ashamed of it. I had to face my fear because people go through it. And when I started doing that, Suzette, you know what started
Mm,
happening?
mm.
Kids started coming up to me, was like, "Thank you." And I'll never forget the little girl. She was Haitian. She was like, "Thank you. Because of you, I can survive. I'm not gonna do it anymore." And she
Wow.
was third grade. I don't know what was that, like nine,
Yeah, 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
Mhm.
And she came to me. So once I started talking about that and other issues that I've had grown women who could be our grandmother
Yeah,
come to me with
relate.
tears.
Yes, yes.
And
I can relate to that. Yes.
so your story, your pain isn't just for you. It's to help other people. So once I started to see that, I spoke about it more. And the more I spoke about it, the devil couldn't hold that against me and make me feel like I was a failure because I'm facing you head on. Okay, I did it, but look where I'm at right now. Okay, I
Yeah.
tried, but where I'm at right now, I'm helping other people. So that's kind of how everything kind of started with me.
Wow, y'all reset. I'm having a conversation today with this beautiful woman here, Miss Mya Logs. Her website is Miss Mya Auguste. I'm hoping I'm saying this right.
No, I
From her maiden name. But check out her website, y'all. She does a lot of wonderful things. She has 2 beautiful books that she's written. I invited her to talk about this second one, this brand new one called Failure After Fear. Excuse me, Failure. Favor After Failure and Fear. We're talking about some of her life journey. She's sharing some of the most intimate thank you moments, and not always the happiest. I think sometimes we're wanting to be uplifted, but I think sometimes it's also good to let other people in so that they know, oh wow, that has happened to me, or oh wow, I've had those thoughts as well. I can relate to you with women and men coming up to me like, Sue, this is something I've faced, this is something I've felt. No one is talking about this. And I think sometimes the lies we tell ourselves are very powerful. But how did you say when you were 12 and 13, you were struggling a lot with self-esteem, feeling loved, even though you were from a loving family,
Very loving.
etc. So, what was a turning point? What was the, oh my gosh, I need to step into a place of truth? Was it therapy? What allowed you to become more anchored and allow yourself more grace, as opposed to, and I think a lot of young, specifically women, are dealing with this because of social media, and are dealing with this because of just, want to fit in to this illusionary culture, this illusionary perfection. And I
Yeah,
think men probably can relate to that as well. This
yeah,
always feeling inferior to others because someone else has a bigger car, house, nicer, whatever, clothes. You always are being compared in this kind of marketing culture we have in the West, maybe even in the East. I think it's a lot of other places getting it now too, that you shouldn't be satisfied. You need this
yeah.
kind of mindset they're kind of indoctrinating us with. So, what allowed you to start your healing process from, especially that period of your life when you felt this sense of like hopelessness, in order to like even think about deleting oneself? You have to have a deep pain. How did you begin to like transition into a place of more healthy thinking, etc.?
Well, it took a while because, like I said, it started when I was 11, 12, and I would mask it by first it was dressing promiscuous, like dressing too sexy. Then it was like I had a wall up, and I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to let people in. And when I started a nonprofit back in 2013. Once I started helping women, I started to realize, okay, how are you going to help people when you also have a lot of stuff with you? And of course, with relationships or situationships, they can be the death of you. And it was one bad situationship that led me to therapy, and we started unpacking, and I realized, like, wow, while I thought I was healing, I really wasn't healed. I was just faking the funk. Like, I had all this crap that I had to get rid of me before I could feel any type of light inside of me. So
Yeah.
I started doing the therapy. I started doing the work, you know.
I think that is so important. And I think many people will relate. There is a tendency to want to go to find a relationship to solve our problems.
That
It is
was
the worst thing you could possibly do when you are broken, or
yeah,
when you feel this sense of, unworthiness or failure or fear. Sometimes we think a man or a woman, whoever you are, fancy, uh,
or both,
is or whatever it is. Y'all
whatever
think
it is. It
Y'all
is
think
okay.
it's gonna fix it, but it's oftentimes more complicated because you attract oftentimes where you are in terms of your vibration and
Yeah,
how you are thinking. And oftentimes it's you basically looking at the mirror through the person that you were laying next to or that you're dating. So thank you for sharing that oftentimes we are uh wanting to relieve the pain in a relationship or through a relationship, and it's not always going to happen. Second part of what you just said, I find very, very resonant. Helping others is a definite way to help pull yourself out of the muck, if you will, that spiritual muck, that emotional muck, that feeling of despair. Sometimes the beauty of, bringing others joy, bringing others a sense of peace can really help you to reconnect with yours.
yeah,
So it's not always the first thing. I think therapy is the first thing we want to do. Get somebody to help process what happened or what is happening to us. And then Staying confined to ourselves is probably the wrong thing to do. I don't think we should date right away, but we also need to think of how we can serve, even in the smallest way. You don't want to go overboard. And I know people that throw themselves into like everybody else's problems and trying to save everybody. That's not what I mean. I mean, small, slow, healthy steps in terms of understanding, wow, it is beyond me. I just fed somebody who probably hasn't had a meal all week. I just did something like it brings back perspective to how your problems, now again, we're not in problems or victim Olympics, but it brings it into perspective, I guess. Would you agree?
Yeah, it makes you kind of stop focusing on your stuff and
Yes.
start to be appreciative, like, okay, wow, well, this person's going through this. Not saying that, not to minimize your problems, because
Right.
everybody's problem is different, but it makes you reset to think, you know what? Um, Let me look at today and see what greatness happened to me today. What's a good thing that happened today? Like, one of the things I want to start having to do, want to do is it's a favor jar. So what it is basically you have the jar, it has the word favor on it, and each day you take a piece of paper, you write down, it could be anything. And we have to celebrate big things and small things. It's not just the big cars or whatever, but the fact that you were able, if you were depressed, able to get out and do your face and do your hair, that is a win.
Yes.
So to document those things and put it in the jar. And at the end of the year, I guarantee you, you had more favor than failure and fears. But
Mm,
because the negative is so big, because we thrive on toxic, we thrive on negativity, we thrive on, oh, woe is me. I've been there, I've done it. That's why I can speak. So we always, it magnifies that, oh, my life is terrible. I had the worst year ever because of X, Y, and Z. But if you actually took time to document some of the good things that's happened to you on a daily and a weekly basis, you will see that there was more favor than failure and fear. And that's that mindset shift that I'm trying to that's trying to implore on people, because it's important
yes.
how you think and what you say and how you see things on a daily day.
I so agree with that. Y'all, hit the like button as you come in. Welcome everyone. Again, sitting here with Miss Mya Logues. Her maiden name that you see on the screen is her website. Check it out, y'all. She has a wonderful new publication, Favor After Failure. And we're going to talk a little bit about failure because I think sometimes when things happen to us, it's definitely out of our control. But sometimes we fall victim to a mindset of self-imposed destruction.
Oh, self-destruct,
Self what we call it? Oh my god.
self-sabotage.
Thank you. Self-sabotage. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
I know it by heart.
We got to talk about her because when we think we have failed, again, not sickness that happens to us, not something else that happens to us out of our control. But once we make a decision and that decision produces a negative or a result that we did not anticipate, but has set us back, let's say, we often self sabotage as a result of it. And we really need to talk about what failure is. Again, how we define it varies from person to person, and how you experience it might be different from how I experience it. But I wanted to ask you, Miss Mya, how do you deal, or can you give us an example of how you've dealt with certain failures, whether in business, because I know you're an entrepreneur as well, or in the personal side? Because there were some lessons, I'm sure, from those failures. But oftentimes, when we think of failure, we think of it as finite. It is over. It is finished. We cannot come back from it, and that's why we really want to just, use maybe some personal examples from yourself, where you have quote unquote felt like you failed, and then seen the lessons afterward. Can you give us an example?
Sometime when I got sick, I was in a position at work. It was an opportunity to be in a supervisor position. And I got sick and I couldn't do it anymore. So in a way I felt like, dang, I failed. Are they gonna, let me do this again? Am I gonna, and at the same time I was on a list to be promoted, but it didn't happen at that time. So even though I didn't think it affected me as much, but it did, because I'm like, damn, like I was this close and it didn't happen. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not gonna go through this and go through the stress of having to take the test and having to go through all of this. They don't, I'm not, I'm just gonna be okay with where I am. And that's the devil getting into your head. And I would say it's important of who you have around you. Your
Mm,
network is your net worth. So if you have people that are dumbing you down, that's like, oh yeah, girl, go ahead. Don't apply, don't do that. you might want to switch those people out. Like how you switch your shoes, you might want to get rid of those people, because my people that I surround myself, they see greatness in me more than I see my greatness in myself. And I talk about that in the book. Have some of your friends and colleagues write why you're dope. Then you write why you're dope and compare. Theirs is probably going to be more and bigger than what you are, is because you lack or you don't think highly of yourself as much as your friends. So that is very important. So when I started to feel like I was failing, my friends and my family, especially my mom, she was like, everything is for a reason. Just because you got rejected at that time with a failure, that could be your protection. You weren't ready yet. It
Yes.
wasn't meant for you. God didn't clear the path yet for you, because now that he cleared the path and things started happening, the book came out.
Right.
Interviews started coming out. For what, maybe mindset, I was better, or maybe there were people around me. I don't know. But when it happened in 2020, it wasn't my time. So sometimes
Amen.
when you fail, it's not so much of a failure, it's a lesson learned. What did you learn from it? Okay, how can I get better? What do I need to do better? Like, what do I need to make it even a better or greater things? And that's what we need to look at. And I have friends who keep me accountable. They're like, all right, you get 5 minutes of you crying, whether it's a relationship or whatever. After that, like, all right, chill up, boss up. Like, are you done? Okay, let's go. That's the type of friends that my mom has. Like,
I love
that's
it.
that's just how they are. So it's really important to have your network match. Like I said, network is your net worth. If your
Yes.
network is less and it's always depleting and deleting and withdrawing from you, you're gonna be done. But if it's a constant energy reacting, giving back, then it's gonna blossom, and that'll keep you accountable and stable.
I think that's so beautiful. Shout out to the chat. I see a beautiful question here. I'm gonna ask. Wow, Sunbreeze on the super chat. Oh wow, thank you, Sunbreeze. With no comment.
Amen.
Just I'm saying on a resurrection weekend. Thank you, Sunbreeze. Like I was getting ready to ask a question and I see bomb hit me in the face with a super duper, this super duper chat on Sunbreeze. Shout out to you, darling. Thank you for your support. Whoa, 100 on the super. Man, I lost my train of thought. Thank you for showing love on this beautiful Saturday. As we talk to Mya Logs, aka Mya Auguste, you'll see her information in the description. You'll see her as she's talking about here today so vulnerably. You'll see her books. And thank you, RM. Thank you, Sunbreeze, for dropping them in the chat because I want people to connect with folks who have, a solution, helping other people figure it out, right? The
Yeah.
hardest part of this life is feeling like you are isolated and that you are living kind of in an isolation zone, right? Nobody else knows what's going on with me. No one else knows how I feel. No one else knows that my struggles feel so real to me. Everybody's going to think that I am playing games or that I am in a way struggling for something that doesn't really matter. And again, there's so much judgment around struggles and feeling depressed and feeling anxiety, but here hopefully you're seeing that no matter who you are, in your greatest moment, as Miss Mya has just described, you can get a no. It can slap you right in the face. Nope. And you will feel like, but God, I've been preparing my whole fill in the blank, my whole career for this man, for this job, for this opportunity. And then it just slap you in the face with a big fat no. And you feel like your life is over. You feel like you're going to never recover. But as she says, sometimes we are not even ready. Y'all hit the like button. Sometimes you're not even ready. And I love what you just said, Mya, when it comes to failure as a method of protection. I think sometimes we neglect to understand the cosmic caretaker, as I call him, Jesus Christ, God above, however you identify, to say, baby, I got you. This is not the right business deal. Baby, I got you. This is not the right man or woman. Baby, I got you. The promotion right now wouldn't be right on time, what you need. Let me push you in this direction. And it hurt because we are ready. Our timing, we want this thing now. We want the man now. We want the business now. We want the promotion now. We want the baby now.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not meant for you at that time in that season. And we don't think of it as protection. We think of it as punishment. We think of it as failure. But as she said, there is so much power sometimes in the no.
Yes.
So much power sometimes in the I can't right now. Or this got taken off my plate for me. Thanks, God.
Listen,
Or the person gets taken out your life, or the business goes bad. Business deal gone bad. Anybody been there? And I'm mad. I'm an attorney. I'm like, I'm mad. What is going on? But thank you, God, for your protection. Thank you, God, for your divine order, all-knowing order. What I need, what I don't need, who I need to be around, who I need to, like you say, clear the bench, clear the team. Not happening today. Protect, as I just posted on my Instagram. There are conversations we don't know about that God hears, is why people get kind of cleared from the bench. And they wondering why, and you don't know why, but you just know. My spirit never lied. My spirit always tell me if I feel like a weirdness, it ain't never lied
at all.
So when we're going through these phases, especially when it comes to what is apparent quote unquote failure, I love the tips that she's already given. Write down your points of favor in your life. Even at the lowest, there are blessings in disguise. Favor jar every day. Oh my gosh, I try to do that. I call it gratitude. Same thing.
Yeah.
I try to say a prayer in the morning, right? Find 4 or 5 things that you're just thankful for before your foot hit the ground and you get up. Yeah. You got to remember blessings. You have to start with that mindset, because I think, as you just mentioned, the negative mindset is so pervasive and so easy to fall into, and is much louder than our positive thoughts. So if we have to do it intentionally, let's do it intentionally. You have to continuously feed your spirit from that positive place. Reading books like hers, reading the Bible, reading or watching shows like this. You have to remind yourself that God is in fact good. This woman literally went through the biggest health crisis. If you're just joining us, go back and watch it. And you could feel like it's over, but it wasn't. It absolutely was not. I see a couple questions in the chat. I'm going to ask you now about fear, because I think failure, again, many of us have this sense of like, oh my gosh, I would never trust my own instincts. But we don't remember that that journey of life comes with these bumps and bruises. We are not exempt from it. We are not exempt from it. We want it to be a perfectly smooth road. But once we embrace that life is topsy-turvy, it has hills, it has valleys, it has soft lessons, it has hard lessons. Once we embrace that, we can, I think, put things in a little bit better perspective. We also talked about reaching out to others. I love that suggestion of having your close people, your real people, talk about why you're dope. Write it down for you so that you can read it, because sometimes the lies that we hear within our own head about ourselves are so loud that we don't remember other people really rate us, other people really love us, other people really want to cheer us on, other people want us to be great too. We're so used to putting ourselves down, many of us. And the negative self-talk is like almost like a epidemic more than the pandemic. So we got to be very careful about what we're constantly intaking, who we are always around, what they are saying to us, what we are saying to ourselves. Maya, you want to add anything? I'm going to ask a couple questions from the chat. Go ahead, love.
Yeah, when it comes to fear, you have 2 things you could think. Forget everything and run, which is fear, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. How you want to deal with fear. Because we all like to forget everything and run from the problems, run from the heartache, run and hide from certain things or not face it. But when you face everything, you face the situation, you face why it may have failed, or what were the issues, or what were the lessons that you had to learn, or what do you need to do? Maybe you need to be a little bit more submissive. Maybe you need to not talk like that. Maybe you need to, or whatever. Maybe you need to not,
get up and go walk in the morning.
Yeah,
maybe some sunshine time during the day. Oh yeah.
Even just listening to whatever you're listening to and watching, all of that has an impact on your negativity that you're feeding your soul. So when you face everything and you realize, okay, I'm feeding myself this negativity, this toxic, this is why I like toxic. This is why my talk is toxic. This is why my talk is negative, because that's what I'm feeding it. So I'm going to regurgitate what's coming inside my body.
Yeah.
And positivity is going to become positive. So that's why you choose either forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. When you face you're able to rise up to where you need to be.
I love it. Shout out again one more time to Sun Breeze on the big super chat. Thank you so much for showing love today. I see a question. Chef Shapino says, at Mya logs as Haitian diaspora Do you think our ignorance of mental health issues made you take longer to crack the boy? You could put that in any kind of culture. You can throw all African descent people in that. You can say ICN, but listen, them Jamaicans be the same way. I mean, I know our African American brethren can testify.
Listen.
So, what say you? Is there ignorance of mental health?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. Yes. So I started writing an article for a magazine down south called Creative Mag. And the last article was dealing about mental health in the Caribbean, because we're taught to keep it within the household or go to God, pray about it, and that's it. Yes, I believe in God. I have a relationship with God. That is part of it. But another part is to get the therapy, the plans, the 5 steps, 7 steps, 2 steps, whatever it is, to be able to deal with that combined with prayer. Because even in the Bible, it says prayer without work is dead. So you can pray and go to God all the time, but if you're not putting that work, if you're not doing the healing, if you're not doing all of that, then it's not going to work. So you have to do that.
I absolutely agree. I see links in the chat, same thing. Y'all check out her website. Links, ads. I think, we have had this stigma among African diaspora people. Chef Shapino, definitely in the West Indian diaspora, I would call it the African, any Black diaspora weaknesses isn't tolerated.
No.
And pushing through pain is the lesson from when we are little. Absolutely. So this sense of like, this is a part of life. The journey is supposed to be. I heard TD Jake say it this way: people believe life should be endured, not enjoyed. And I'm like, dang, y'all gonna have me in pain from the time I'm little to when I go to the grave. Life should be endured. We gotta push through. We strong people, yeah. But we also can be vulnerable. We also experience pain and failure and fear. And we're going to talk about fear a little bit here. Thank y'all. Leave a comment in the chat. Andrea Stansberry, nice to see you. I love her. Thanks for sharing. Chef Shapino agrees. Absolutely. This is what we said. Yes, Jesus and therapy. Actually, who was it? Veronique Pierre. Earlier guest I had on the SuzetteSpeaks show has a line called Jesus Plus Therapy. Beautiful shirts. Beautiful shirts. And she is so sweet. Also Haitian American, and was like, yeah, a lot of times people get stuck in this. I've got to be strong. I am superwoman. I can't show vulnerability. Go ahead, love.
Let's talk about this whole Black woman being strong thing. Listen, it's okay as an alpha female because of what we do.
Right.
We're in male-dominated spaces. Majority of them are predominantly people of non-color. We're breaking and glass ceilings. Let me tell you, I don't always want to be strong.
At all.
I want to be. I want to be. Oh, woe is me. Come here, please help me pick up the bags. But when
can you say it again, please? I don't always want to be strong at all.
That uniform. Yes, that's Boss Maya. That's Sergeant Maya. When I'm home, hey babe, come to eat. But you also have to provide that space.
Yeah, they know. This channel, they know. They got to step up too. They can't just get any kind of
but that strong thing for Black women is a bad thing. It comes from having to endure so much, of having to see all the stuff that's happened in slavery, having to see all of that, having to see our mother having to grow through the father leaving, or having to have 5 kids and going out fending for herself. So now it is a defense mechanism. Like, I got to do everything by myself. And that will kill us. I'm not saying you can't, but it can kill you. When you find someone that can make it better, baby, kick off them shoes and be like, hey, I'm good. Go ahead.
Come on, Miss Maya. Hello.
Because
that's how the last name changed. Hello. Let's go.
Well, the last name changed. I'm just gonna put it out there just in case. I'm not married. That's the name that came for, like, I'm gonna do a YouTube channel. But
I thought it was a. See, you don't assume. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I mean, you're speaking into existence.
It's a channel brand.
Yes, you're speaking it into existence. That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, guys. Let's
go. Girl, I shouldn't have assumed. Oh, okay, but I like it. Okay, Maya Logs. I get it. Maya Logs. That's the brand.
But
ask
that strongness sometimes come out of fear. fear of
Yes.
being vulnerable,
Yes.
fear of opening up to people. Like I'll tell a story. I have a good friend of mine. I had been hurt by females so much, I didn't want to get close to her. But baby Suzette, when I tell you this was the girl that stepped up when I got sick, she stepped up like, I mean, it wasn't anything that I needed.
Wow.
She was there. She was coming. She was getting me food. She was like, okay, you got to go to the doctor. I'm moving my schedule. I didn't have to ask. But that very person that I was rejecting because of my fear, my
Mm,
insecurities,
mm,
was my blessing. And the
mm.
ones that I were keeping
I
were
need to
the
do a
ones
show on that. Hurt
were
by
the
other
ones that
females.
were not
I
even
need to do a show. Hurt by other females. Thank
yes,
you.
because sometimes
Because I think that what you're saying, I relate to a lot too.
yes.
I've had women friends that are, or ex friends that have done some grimy stuff.
You
And
know,
so it takes a lot for a person to get close to me. I'm like, no, don't trust you. Even if we hang out for a while, you might be on a 6 month probation. Nah, this is not happening. I don't laugh at it. I don't mean to, make light of it. But what you're saying is real. It's real. And then the very person that is meant to bless you in that season, you can be pushing them away.
yeah.
I'm enjoying the conversation. I hope you are. Hit the like button. Topic: favorite after failure and fear. We're going to talk a little bit about fear. Also, when it comes to like your greatest fears, because no matter who you are, everyone walks around with a little bit of fear of something, right? Fear of growing old, fear of growing old alone, fear of never getting married, fear of not having kids, fear of not having a family, fear of not being rich, fear of you can fill in the blank. They're big and small, but no matter who you are, there is a lot of anxiety. I've read an article that they're saying that they want to start from like third grade in the US in terms of starting to interview kids about their anxieties. And it's kind of crazy to me. I can see why, though. I feel like there are a lot of kids walking around with anxiety and are, painfully just not, don't have an outlet to express them or don't know how to process them. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of fears that we live with that are some controllable, some are uncontrollable. Can you talk about what fears you've had or how you walked, through them or what they have had as an impact on your life?
Um, my fear, two of my biggest fear, which you actually talked about, was fear of dying alone and not being married, and fear of not having kids, because I don't have kids. But the last couple of years, sometimes the things that we want, I'm learning may be the one that can destroy us. When I mean by that, I remember I had a pastor who told me sometimes, like, if you look at this back wall right here, is let's talk about relationships. This relationship, this is your whole life right here, right? Big old wall. We have a relationship. It should be like this little tiny little dot right here. But instead, our relationship becomes this whole wall. And next thing you know, we have depression, self deletion, low self esteem, because something that's supposed to be small, we magnify it and it kills us. Same thing with kids. You don't know how your kid's gonna turn out. You're praying they're gonna be good, but that kid may be the one that caused your life to go through hell and may not come out of it. And that can destroy you as a mom, or waiting so long to have a child and losing that child, or waiting so long to have that child and that child comes out with defects and and health. So now you have another set of struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes the things that we may want so badly, because we can't see it, those are the things that God is like, no, or not right now. So there was a point where I was afraid. I was afraid I'm going to be by myself. And then I settled. I was
Mm.
afraid to, like, be not have somebody, and I didn't set boundaries, and I endured stuff that I shouldn't endure. I went through stuff that I shouldn't have went through because I just wanted to have or to say I had somebody. But again, once you start doing that work, that therapy and praying and asking God and journaling and going to God about these people, like, oh, he's cute, he's handsome, he's this and that, but can he pray for me? Can
Mm.
he lead me? Can he provide for me? If my car's broken right now, can he help me? Or do I have to go ask one of my other homeboys? If you got to ask another man or another woman to do it while you have a partner, you don't need
Mm-mm.
that person.
Or is he being deceptive and trying to run through me?
That part. When I started to put too much focus on what I didn't have, I
Yeah.
lost sight of what I do have.
Amen.
So
Amen.
if it's meant to be, I've come to the point like, you know what, I don't want to grow old by myself, and I would like to have a child. But at the same time, the way I see these little kids be acting sometimes, probably I would have to call you to be my attorney.
Right. No, I say the same thing. I think sometimes you think, oh my God, when is my season? When is my season? Oh God. And I saw the most beautiful, and this is a sidetrack. I was watching, I think it was Hoda Kotb. Sometimes I keep the TV on or put it on my computer while I work. And she was talking about like a 73-year-old bride. Woman had never been married. And same as you, health problems in the 50s. Like this lady had colon cancer and then breast or lymphatic. She had like 100 lymph nodes or some kind of crazy number. I don't
Wow.
remember exactly. Removed. And she and the guy met at her, it must have been 30 or 40-year high school reunion. Didn't know each other in high school, met in their 50s, and had been friends or, whatever, partners, if you will. And, when she had gone through all the health stuff, she kept saying to him, "It's okay, you can leave. It's okay, you can leave." And he was like, "Nah, nah." And then for her 73rd birthday, he was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she just said, she's heard in her spirit, "Wow me." Beautiful story. He's talking about he got his days as a bachelor was numbered. Bruh, you 70, bruh. You still out here doing
No,
what
they
you
out
doing?
here. They're for the
What you
streets.
doing?
They're for the
And I
streets.
just think of it because others will judge that and be like, "Oh no, she's way too old. She's terrible. She's lost." And I thought the joy this woman had and the acceptance that she had and the idea of, again, gratitude. Like they were like, "Do you feel like you should have had this 30 years ago?" She was like, "No." "Do you feel like this?" "No." And I genuinely believe her. She was having the time of her life. She had a bachelorette party complete with a stripper.
At 70 something years
Yeah,
old,
she said
go
he
ahead
was
now,
he
live
said
your
he was
life.
classy. He was conservative. But it was so cute that she didn't miss any. Obviously, they didn't have kids. They don't have kids, but the beauty of it is like your season is your season, your time is your time. And I think sometimes a lot of people, because we are looking left and looking right at everyone else's timeline and how their lives are working out and unfolding, we sometimes get so bogged down in what we are missing or not doing in that season. And I have had um, a lot of growth in that, and not, fear of missing out, that FOMO, and trying not to compare. Like,
Oh,
yes, I have friends who have done so much in this area or that area of their lives. I feel behind there and I don't feel good there, or I'm a little ahead there. I'm trying, it's still a daily struggle, but I'm further along on that journey than I was before, where I'm not comparing. Shout out to the chat. Thank you again for watching. I see Jay Jackson with a question, and I've dropped the link. If anybody wants to come up and talk about how they've overcome failure and fear and have received favor, and however way you define it, you're welcome to come up. I see Brother Links in the chat. Links is a preacher and a fantastic guest. No pressure. But if you want to come up and add your 2 cents, Links, on the camera, off camera, whatever, I know you will have a good word. Jay Jackson asks, how do you handle those fears when it seems impossible to get through? How would you answer that, Miss Mya?
so when fear, failure, sucker punches you or Will Smiths you,
It's too early.
no,
Not.
it's not. It's not too early. When fear, failure, Will Smiths you, and
Mm,
you probably buckle down, that is the best position for you to pray.
mm.
So for me, when fear and everything was going through me, going around me, I prayed. And in my journal, it says sometimes elevation requires isolation. Sometimes God is trying to get your attention to move. To you were created for His purpose, not for. We have this misnomer that we're created to do our own thing. No, we're created to do God's purpose. And whatever God has for us, He wants you to do it willingly. If you don't, He'll call you. You may not like it, but it's better to go willingly. So elevation requires isolation, which means prayer. Not always talking on the phone, not always going out, not always doing certain things, not always not being on scene. To sit back and really just try to like pray. Okay, God, what are you trying to show me? Like, what do I need to know? What do I need to fix? What discipline? What do I need to? What boundaries within myself, from myself, do I need to set within me? Not just boundaries for other people, boundaries for my own self. So once you start to be able to handle those by praying, by like really the last couple of months when I got sick, it was journaling. I journaled every day, 3, 4 times a day. Anytime I felt something, it was journaling. and it was just coming out. And sometimes that's how God would talk to me, and sometimes it was just like a release. So when you have those fear, find an outlet for it, a positive outlet, not a negative, a positive outlet, whether it's
Mhm.
running, exercising, and that came out, working out. And when you work out, your body starts to change. Your body starts to change, you start to feel better about yourself. You start to feel better about yourself, you start to think better about yourself, and it becomes like a
Snowball.
a snowball.
Yes. Yes.
So, and then you start to write things that are, if you take a journal from the one that you have from last year to now, as you're growing, you'll see the change. You'll see the difference in just the words and what you're talking about. You're not crying. You're just like, okay, God. It becomes from, oh, why me? Okay, God, I want to do this. Is this for me? Let me know. Show
Love
me.
it. I love it.
So that's what I would say. Pray
Very,
and journal.
very good advice. I've dropped a link. We're gonna go probably till about two, y'all. So if you want to come up and give your 2 cents, ask a question of the author of the hour, Miss Mya Auguste, I would love for you to come up. What you just said, love, is just so powerful. That's why I'm in the chat commenting as well. What she just said, y'all, I think small change is the theme. Small change. Oftentimes we want the biggest result, the biggest outcome, but it oftentimes starts with the small change. Like for me, whether it's that go for that walk, burn some calories like I did this morning, or, join up with a different group of people, get on that dating app. Not saying that you should, but I'm just saying small change. Going out that one Friday a month when you don't go out any Fridays a month, whatever it is, small change. If you want friendships, if you want quality people, go to that law, like, I don't know, law thing, business networking, whatever. As you said, we can't expect different if we're not acting. The praying is important, but we must act. Go ahead, love.
And also, when you talk about friendship and stuff and quality people, make sure what you're asking of somebody, you can also give it to yourself. Because
Mm,
oftentimes we want people to be good to us. We want to have these good friendships, but we got all this hell inside of us. We don't know how to be a good friend. We don't know how to be a good person. We don't know how to do none of that, but we're wanting all of this, but you don't have that inside of you. So if you don't have it to give, you can expect somebody else to give. So before you start
absolutely.
asking or wanting those things, you need to self-check. Then that's what I have to do. Check myself. Okay, I'm asking this person to be a good friend. Am I really a good friend? What's my definition of a good friend? Am I
Mm,
a good woman? Or sometimes we think because we know how to cook, we can keep a house, or we have a job, that makes us a good woman. No, it's a whole lot deeper than that. Because listen, you got men out here that cook, clean better than us. What sets you apart? What makes you a good woman? It's not because of what you have in between your legs either. So those are the things that you have to reset your mindset to define what it is as far as being good and
fill in the blank. I think that can apply to relationships as well as
anything.
friendships. I ask myself all that time. I'm like, would you be a good wife? Would you be a good mother? Like, I'm trying to practice towards that. And
Yes.
the answer is not always yes.
No.
We still have selfishness and just, I don't want to say bad habits, but just things that another person probably wouldn't like. And you think you ready to be Mrs. So and so, and other times you're just like, oh, okay, I can work on that. I might have a little bit of a issue with fill in the
Yeah.
blank, patience
Yes.
or whatever. Sometimes like, did I just get mad? I'm like, would I be that mad if I was with somebody? Should that have made me that mad? You get what I'm saying? Like, you always have to check yourself. None of us is perfect, but we're gonna mess up. We're gonna have shortcomings, but we always need to be working towards bettering ourselves, for ourselves, and then for others in our lives. We need to be the best version of ourselves as friends, to be in relationships, right? So
Yeah.
when you talk about, I love that when you start, fear starts to take over, you start to pray, you start to write, you start to ask God, what is it you're teaching me? What have I not been seeing? How am I going to gain a lesson from this? Or what lesson should I be learning from this? Asking those questions and being, I would say, just an attentive listener. Sometimes when we pray, we're praying for, and we don't even know what we need. You need to be listening. I love that approach. Asking questions when you pray and stopping and getting quiet and listen. Oftentimes we think we know the answer, but if you knew the answer, you wouldn't be in a predicament right now.
That
So I
part.
think a lot of times when we want that divine a caretaker that I understand to be God through Jesus Christ, that divine energy that speaks to us all. You hear it in your spirit. And you say, is that me? What is talking to me? I didn't say that. I hear it. You know when you hear it. Call so and so, do this, check that. But you didn't hear. What is telling you that, guys? What is telling you that? Subconscious? I don't know. Many have argued, right? Whatever you call it, it is a beautiful thing and it should be listened to, right? So we got to make sure we're not allowing the fear to kind of wrap us up in these dark places. Of course, we want to make sure we're also advocating for therapy. So let's talk a little bit more about the book. What people are going to get in the book? And you say it's a 30-day journal.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
ma'am.
tell me a little bit more about the book.
So each day has, so I picked out one of my favorite ones. So it's day 7. Quote, it says, do not be embarrassed by your mess and tests, because it will turn out to be a message and testimony for someone else and yourself.
Mm.
So day 7, and then the questions would be, how many times have you sulked in your mess and denied yourself grace and mercy? And it has 2 pages for you to fill out and just go in details about it. And then the next question was, what was one of the hardest tests to overcome that became an impactful testimony? And then it has an activity each day for you to do for yourself. So for day 7, it was, when was the last time you shared your message and testimony with someone? Like you were just talking about, like when the spirit tells you to reach out to that person. Sometimes if you reach out to that person, you'll find out that you're a blessing to that person, because that person needed whatever that it is that you were giving to them. And that's why I say our mess, and our tests are not just for us. So when you get that spirit that says, I haven't heard from such and such, let me hit her up. You don't start talking to her and just, take her out to dinner. And it says, write their name on a piece of paper, invite them from coffee or dinner, and share. It's not for you. Your issues, your circumstances are not just for you to just sit there and be, woe is me. You can actually help somebody by just sharing how you may have overcame or what you're going through to get through it. You could be helping somebody else. So that's the type of journal that it is. And each day is a different quote that I've found, that I've done. They're not all mine. They were from some of the people that are, like Tony Gaskins and stuff like that. But it's just to kind of make you think and define certain things, to go deeper. Like another one is, what's your definition of success? People think being successful is having the husband, the big house and stuff like that, or being rich. But in reality, being healthy right now in this day and age, that's rich. So it all depends on what your definition is, and to change that definition, change that mindset, you'll start to see how much favor you really have. That's the whole thing, is like when you change the definitions of what you're thinking about, it's not about the money in the bank. Because if you die right now, that money is gonna go to who? And if you don't have anybody, it's gonna go to the state. Suzette's gonna be sitting here doing, probate and
Distributing it to the state of Florida. Yeah.
the state of Florida. So having good people around you, you're rich. Having people that's going to support you,
Having a family.
having your family, having
Mhm.
life, not having COVID, not having to be, to be in those things. Those are rich. You can't get that. There's no money or price to pay for that. So when
Right.
you start to think like that, you're like, you know what? I do have favor. I have a lot more favor than I thought, and that is the mindset that we're trying to convey and trying to change.
I love it. And I'm going to ask you one more question. I think, again, the chat has been kind of quiet. I don't know. Y'all must be listening in. Welcome, guys. If you want to come up, last call, I have dropped the link. So if you want to come up and ask Miss Mya a question directly, I think they're enthralled. I think they're listening intently and kind of listening. I think
I
I
hope
also,
so.
it's funny. I'm trying to come up with a question and I'm listening to what you're saying and it's hitting me in a different way. So I love it. I think, again, we do stuff for others, Mya, and it's so much therapy for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that you're here, and I want to talk to you about what a person who is ready to try to overcome their failure and fear to get to favor, what would be step one? I want to leave them with practical steps, because oftentimes you hear this and it sounds a little bit kind of like lofty and spiritual and, super zen. But I think there's a lot of things that are just, what do I do first? And people need to understand what they would do first. I have a couple questions. Somebody's asking a couple questions in the chat. Somebody says, what do you think about anxiety? Could it interfere breaking out of fear? And could you tell us the difference between anxiety and intuition feelings? All right. So, what do you think about anxiety? I wonder, is it fear? I think anxiety does cause fear.
Mhm.
So it says, what do you think, and what do you think about anxiety? Could it interfere with breaking out of fear? How would you answer that?
Um, Anxiety is real, but the thing with things, I'm not a therapist, is there's something that's causing anxiety, which is fear. So they kind of coincide together.
Yeah, I feel like they're either cousins or sister and brother.
Yeah. I think they're more like sister and brother.
Yeah.
So it's first, I'm going to answer this twofold with the first quick question as to how to obtain favor. What is the root cause of your fear? What causes anxiety? You have to pinpoint your triggers.
Mm,
Point at your triggers. Once you know what triggers you, you got control. So if you know that having anxiety around certain people who act a certain way or who say certain things around you, family, friend, or foe, because
yes.
coming from the islands, you know that's your family. I don't give a darn.
Yo, you have to stop talk to those people, man. Stop
You know,
talk to them.
like
And it
don't
could be
talk
the ones that you love the most. Jesus.
most. That's in the it says it in the genre. The one that you love the most is the one that you gotta let go. That could be the main thing that's causing your
I
anxiety.
don't even,
So
I gotta take my face off of here because I will say stuff right now. Links in the background. Go ahead, Miss Maya. Go ahead. Keep going, darling.
So it's like, so the anxiety and the fear are together. So what's causing your anxiety? And it could be deep rooted stuff that happened in the past that you don't want to come face to face with. So once you're able to identify your triggers and your stuff, then that'll start to break out the anxiety and break out the
Identify the
fear.
triggers. I love that. Links, you ready? You want me to pull you up?
Come
All
on,
right.
Mr. Blanks.
Links in the background with the shades. Yes. How are
Yeah.
you?
What's going on? You caught me out here doing yard work today, so I've been
Oh, I was
listening.
like, Links look like he in the
Yeah.
Uber. Where you at?
Nah,
You at
nah,
home? That's
I'm at
nice.
home. I'm at
Okay,
home. I'm at home.
cool. Thanks for
It,
coming
it,
up. Good to
here in
see
the
you.
yard. Yeah, how y'all doing? I know haven't been on in a while, but I'm definitely enjoying the conversation. It's a conversation that's dear to my heart. So I appreciate the truth that's being shared today.
Thank
Definitely.
you. Appreciate you, brother. I am always counting on you. I know you always like to bring a good what's that say, summary of what's being said and how we can apply it. I think there are so many people again who are living in fear, living with the sense of failure, never pleased their parents, didn't right feel like they married right. Or, if I only had married June, I married Jane, or this sense of failure. It's amazing what blessings people have on their lap, and they're still categorizing it or applying this sense of, no, I did something wrong here. How do we stop that? How do we break that? How do we really live in a sense of gratitude and favor, because God is giving you favor, but the way you are um describing it to yourself, you always feel like a sense of loss or being less than or not having done the quote right thing. Why do people, first of all, why do people do that? And then how do you think we can help shift that mindset as to one of like, God is so good to me, as opposed to, I don't have quote what everyone else has?
I would say, and I'm hoping you can hear me. I got my
You're good.
earplugs in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, the key thing is, and what was said today is fear. Fear is the biggest thing in our lives, and because of fear, um, we go into protection mode. We go into protection mode. We go into survival mode, and we don't want to deal with the truth, or don't want to deal with the issues that we're facing. Um, there's a scripture that says sin goes out of your life by way of confession. It's a principle, and
Mm.
I liken that to to therapy. You have to talk out the sin. You have to verbalize, and as your guest said, you have to unpack the issues of your life. Um, I'm a big proponent of therapy. I was in therapy for a year. Um, and that helped me to get past a lot of the issues, a lot of the familial issues that I grew up with, that I dealt with. But the what brought me to that place, of getting, being able to move past it, was surrender. Um,
Mm.
Yes.
you basically have to face it and surrender. Um, I cringe. I don't want to do this to you, Suzette, but
Mm.
I only can liken it. to scripture and different things that I know in
Ain't
scripture.
nothing wrong with that, brother. What you mean, man? You good?
No, but in light of resurrection weekend, uh, there's a passage that says he who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, or endured the cross, despising the shame for the joy that was set before him. And the issues that we have in our life, one of the things that we miss out on and to experience the joy on the other side is facing what we're experiencing, going through what we're experiencing, and then on the other side of that we can experience the joy. And
Mm.
unfortunately, until we can be until we can surrender, um, that is going to be the key point. And let me share this. I was in service last Sunday, and I thought I was supposed to share this with the church, but I guess I'm supposed to share it with you guys. The Lord spoke to me and said something, and if you don't mind, I want to share
Go
it. He,
ahead,
he said to
please,
me,
brother. Please.
he, he said this to me, and folks may question, does God still speak to you? He does. He said to me that I am the God of your past, your pauses, and your promise. And more importantly, I am the God. I said, I am the past. I'm the God of your past, your promise, or your past, your pauses, and your promise.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come to yourself, when you come to the end, and most importantly, when you come to the end of yourself, I am the God of your beginnings. Wherever you surrender, there I am. And if we can get to that place of surrender and allow God to um, express His love towards us, that is where healing comes. Where there's genuine true love, there is peace, there is healing, there is wholeness. And when we can get to that place, we'll experience it, and we can enjoy the abundant life that He's promised us.
You're just speaking to me different today, my friend. I wasn't ready for Easter morning, but I'm getting ready now. God, thank you. My God, my God. Well, I can't preach after that because my tell me again, I am the God of your tell me again,
He
just so
said,
it's
I am the God of your past, your pauses, and your present. And most importantly, when you come to the end of yourself, I
mm,
am the God of your beginnings.
wow.
Wherever you surrender, there I will be.
All right, brother Links that came through with a whole word. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We need encouragement, y'all. No matter where you are, no matter how either you're either going up the mountain, on top of the mountain, or coming down the other side in the valley, going back up the mountain. This is the cycle of life. So it's good to always be reminded when you come to the end of yourselves. Which again, that just means I can't figure it out from here. I have done everything I know how to do. I have gotten every degree. I'm as smart as I can be. I tried to take the business course. I tried to get the real estate license. I tried to do what you can fill in the blank. As much as we smart as we like to think, sometimes you got to let go. And I found myself in that flow. What Links is talking about is real. I found myself in, okay, God, here you go. All right. All right. I've tried. I've put together the plans. The plan have blown up. I've tried this. I've tried that. I've been in this job, that job, with the firm, by myself, this, that. Okay, God, here we go. What are we saying now? And it's really an ask. It's a surrender. It's to say, okay, here you go. Here is my life. Here is the next decision. I don't know.
And I
Bring the
think that,
person to me. Literally, He's brought people to me in this season. I've been so blessed. And again, that comes from a period of like the last 2 years of confusion. Let's just be real.
yes.
That's what we're talking. It doesn't always seem, crystal clear as I am in this season right now. Before it was like, think chaos now, next. What are we doing? What are we doing? We need more money. We need more this. We need more that. The noise can get loud. But once you have gotten to a place where you're like, okay, God, are we gonna do this together or what? And that's you asking Him. Because sometimes we get mad when we got to go there. Woo, man, we get mad. I thought I had it all together, and it's just not that way. For those of us who rely on a greater source than ourselves, it's what we do. We acknowledge, we hand over as what Links is describing as surrender, and we say, okay, enough is enough. I can't try to pull this off anymore because clearly I don't know what's next. You do, God. And it's a humbling a surrender of mind, body, and spirit to say, I don't really know, but I'm going to trust you. And then I'm going to pull forward and I'm going to push. And then you're going to tell me yes or no. And I'm going to listen yes or no, right? Let me hear the chat links. You just stirred up the spirit in here this morning.
Can I say
I'm glad
something?
that everybody is agreeing. Andrea, thank you. Let go. Let God. Kim Riley says, agree. Facts. And the uncomfortable truth with Bernard S says, that's good stuff, Links. Thank you for listening, brother, to God to help us here today. Absolutely. He come in right on time, don't he? I see you in the chat, Reese from Philly. Love some Reese from Philly. Been lighting up my last two shows. Praise God, says Kim. Beautiful. Thank you, sir. Absolutely. There's so many beautiful lessons in what both of these fantastic individuals are saying today. And I hope you can take something from it. That is the purpose. Each of us has a story. Each of us has, even when we're going through, we're bleeding, but we leading, said Mya. I am so guilty of that. We are hurting. We are feeling isolation, anxiety, the fear, the failure, and we still leading other people. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But God uses broken vessels all the time, imperfect, all the time.
I had a
Go ahead, love.
I had a girl, young lady in the area. Her favorite tagline was "Broken crayons, still color." And I love that because sometimes we're broken and we feel like because we're broken, which is our failure fears, that God can't use us and He can't. And when he talked about, Link talked about surrender, when I was in the hospital and I surrendered, I literally was like, I'm done. And God wants us to surrender. God wants to abide in us, and just as He is abiding us, just like we want Him to abide in me. So it's like He wants to work together with us, but we have to want Him to go. He's not going to force Himself. And that's where that surrender comes. You're like, okay, it's bigger than me. I have no control. Like, I'm going to listen. It's, hey, okay, I can't do it no more. And that's where I was at when I was at the hospital. I couldn't do it no more. I don't know what else to do. Just help me.
Yeah. I'm not ready to die though, but you're going to take this from me right now.
I came to that conclusion that if that was the point, that's what He wanted me to do, that I will be okay with this. So sometimes while you're going through it, you have to grow through what you're going through. It's not just go through it to go through it. You gotta grow. It's a growth process. It's learning from it, and those were the things that I learned while I was sick. So, and when you said something about the family, a lot of the times with the anxiety, to touch back on that, is generational curses. We're keeping generational curses or generational trauma from, that's not even ours, but we're taking it on as ours, and now it's combined with whatever issue we have, plus whatever issue that my mother had, my grandmother had. Now I'm covering all of that, and I'm all sorts of all hell within me. So I even talk about the book, which part of those curses are actually yours, and which part of these curses are actually your generational curses from other people. Sometimes the crap we're carrying is not even our own burden, it's somebody else's burden, and we gotta let it go.
That is so real. That is so real. Go ahead, Links. You want to add?
No, I was just going to just say that, foundationally, what Mya has tapped into is a kingdom principle, a foundational kingdom principle of exchange, and relinquishing something to receive something, and as you said, the generational curses that we carry, we can relinquish those to receive what God has for us and what He's purposed for us in our lives. So you think about your just life itself, your life, your breathing. It works on a process of exchange. All your organs, everything works on a process of exchange. It's a foundational thing. It's a foundational principle of the kingdom. And if you can tap into that and understand that and know that that's God, that's what God is there waiting for you, you'll be all right. Trust. It's hard. It's hard because of the fear of letting go, and it's the fear of the unknown. If I let go of this and let go of the pain that I know, what is on the other side? And unfortunately, for many times for us, the pain that we have becomes a security blanket for us, and we don't want to let go of that security blanket to embrace something greater that God has for us.
I think
the
he got my book
identity.
without
Go
me
ahead,
even
love.
knowing. I think he got my journal without me even knowing. Because I talk about that like
Link's got a spiritual download of your whole journal just now.
I'm gonna have to go through my invoices, but no, it's because I talk about, how much of the pain we hold on to because it's comfortable. It
Wow.
becomes comfortable. Pain and negativity is comfortable because when you talk to somebody, how you doing? Oh, I'm all right. No, like how many people you would say I'm good, and then they really mean that they're good, not that whole I'm good and highly favored. I'm talking about you. You know you don't have everything, but you're still blessed in a way. And we hold on, and I know I did. I hold on to everything that happened to me that was negative. Every rejection, I held on to it, and I couldn't have real, authentic, intentional relationships no matter what I wanted, how much I wanted. I had to check myself. So that's what I'm saying. You have to know your triggers. You have to know what bothers you. You have to know all those things to start that process. Because if you don't know, how can you stop it? Because it could be someone right next to you that every time triggers you, your anxiety's off the hook. You're trembling. You can't eat. You depressed, and you don't know that you start self-sabotaging, and you don't understand why you think it's you. No, it's your environment. It's what's around you. So it's important to know what triggers you and how to avoid that trigger. And sometimes we are our own triggers, and we need to check our own self with that. Yes.
You might have to explain that a little bit more. Links, I'm going to drop you down. Thank you for being up here, brother.
All right.
Thank you for bringing that word. Always appreciate him. Y'all go back and watch God Found My Wife featuring Links. When you're ready, come back. We want some more knowledge from you.
Yeah,
Anytime,
part two.
here.
Hey, Suzette, last thing and before I go, and again, this ties into what Maya said. You can never have peace with a heart of war. So when are you going to surrender?
Good word, brother. Thank you so much. The exchanges was resonating with me. Yeah. The exchange. Something got to be let go for something to be gained. That's the natural principle, universe principle, biblical, spiritual. I don't know what to call it, but just principle that it doesn't matter what you believe. It operates. Yes. For you to let go for something to come. And I'm just thinking about all those things, not just pain, identities, all kinds of stuff. Nothing new comes if we're holding on to old, right? They were talking about old wine skins and new wine. It doesn't go. You have to let go to bring something new. Right. Goodness gracious. Let open hand. All right, brother. All right. Must I appreciate thank you, Links. Miss Maya, thank you. Enjoy you, Links. Good to see you. Happy Easter. Whoa. Links always come through with some food for thought. I'm listening, and again, when we do these shows, guys, I know it's for y'all, but I'm processing in my own heart and for my own self in my own life and what I can take away from it. That's the whole point. This is an exchange, right? To give and therefore to get as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Maya, we have a few minutes left. I want you to have a final word. Like I said, practical steps is where I always like to leave people when they are facing, deep-seated fear, deep-seated sense of failure. I was never good enough. My mom never loved me. I never, should have married so-and-so. My kids came out wrong because I was young and I didn't know how to raise them. All this kind of, people have all these kind of secret senses of failure all the time. When I listen to people, I'd be like, dang. As Link said, as you said, just by what you've done through your book, you got to release it. The testimony, tell a therapist, tell other people, and not everybody, but tell somebody, write it down. The parts that are holding us back sometimes just need a release. Yeah. This happened to me. It wasn't my fault. I didn't know how it happened. I would probably make a different decision with who I am today, but with the knowledge of who I was then, I couldn't make a better decision because I wasn't that person. So all of those things sometimes when we are not allowing ourselves to heal, we haven't forgiven ourselves. We still holding ourselves hostage to prior, you want to call them mistakes, we can call them lessons, to hurts, to what we deem or what we've been calling up to now. Hopefully you change your language as failure. Those things are holding you hostage, brother. Those things can hold you hostage, sis. It's time to let go. Release them from being the power over your life. Release them from holding you back. Release them from allowing you to step into this new season with new friends, new relationships, new understanding of self, more elevation. I'm not talking from money. I'm talking from internal elevation. Therefore, will bring outside elevation. But if the person inside is struggling with the person inside, you're always going to end up with those same kind of roadblocks, the failure and the fear. So if y'all need help, go to her website with this. This is not an overnight or one show fix, but we want to plant the seeds to allow you to start thinking about, whoa, where in this conversation do I need to apply those principles to my life? That's what we really want. Miss Maya, I'm gonna give you the final word. Go ahead, my love. Where do you want people to start?
Finding out your triggers, number one. And this is the last quote in the book. I don't know if you can see it. So these are labels. And we take on labels. We put our own labels on ourselves, and we allow people to put labels on us that are not usually true. So once you identify the labels, once you identify the triggers, are those your labels? Is this how you see yourself? Why do you see yourself like that? Write it down. Write down each day how you feel.
Give me an example of a couple of the labels. Hold it up again for me, sis. What does the label say so we can identify the labels that we give ourselves or the labels that we need to get rid of? Just give us a couple examples before you go so people understand. Shame, I see that.
So you have shame, you have divorce, damage, molested, marriage, hurt, not worthy, insecurity, guilt, abortions, all of those things, you know? And in this activity, you're supposed to write it down on this, like a mask like this, right? And then you take that mask and you put it in the fire and you burn it. Dead to the old you, ashes to beauty to the new you.
I love it. Miss Maya, it's funny that I just had someone interview them, Miss Patricia Shaw, about soul ties. And do you know she gave us a similar exercise with the burning?
Really?
Y'all better burn a piece of paper, or burn a mask, or burn something. This is the second person that has talked about ceremonial release. If you can't figure it out. You can't get out your spirit. You can't empty, as we were talking about. Thank you, Easy Gospel Piano Lessons. I see you. Very good point. Your body release toxins for a healthy flow. We have to mentally and emotionally as well. Good analogy. Good analogy.
I like that one.
The release has to happen. So if you still feel the guilt, if you still feel the shame, if you write it down, put it on the mirror, look in the mirror. Lord, this is not me. This is who the world says I am. This is who my mama say I am. This is who my people say I am. This is not me. You are not just quote unquote the baby mama. You are not just quote unquote the ex-husband or ex-wife. You are not just quote unquote the baby daddy. You are more. You are much more in the eyes of God. So if those emotional wells are full, they need to be emptied, and you need to find your means of clearing it out, clearing out that mental, that label, that baggage. It has to be done because it's holding you back, my brother. It's holding you back, my sister. We need everybody to move forward. Need people to get, thank you, Chef, catharsis, more fire, the soul purge. Yes, that's a great way of putting it, Chef. Thank you, Miss Maya. So before y'all go, hit the like button. I want to encourage you once again. Have you enjoyed this conversation? I hope you have, guys. Hit the like button. And if you can, make a comment or share. That's the best way to get us, seen. More people need to hear about her. Yes, to get the emotional cleansing. Absolutely, Chef. Because there are very deep gifts that we all have that we should be using in whatever way God calls you to use it, the big, the small. It ain't got to be on TV to be significant in your neighborhood, in your family, in your life. But oftentimes we're holding back, or we're not fully exploiting them, so to speak, because again, we don't feel good enough. We don't feel worthy enough. There has not been what Chef calls that emotional cleansing. Help me, oh God. So on this resurrection weekend, think about that, y'all. Whatever y'all need to do to start the process so that you can start to be more thankful, experience more gratitude, come from a place of a cup half full instead of half empty. It's going to take some work, but her journal is a great place to start. So you guys can check her out. Once again, let me throw up the website one more time. The name of the book is Favor After Failure and Fear. Let me get a close-up of it. Go ahead and hold it up, sis. Let me see so that people can see it has hands on it. Make you big there. Yes.
And
yes,
also,
check it out.
I am available for speaking engagements and for pop-up book signing. So if you want to have the books there, I can come and meet you there and do a book signing. If you need me to speak to any female, women, young kids, just inbox me or contact me on my website. I am available for both.
Fantastic. I've enjoyed our conversation. Give it up one more time
Thank you
for
so
Miss
much.
Mya Auguste, aka Miss Mya Logs. I see
Yes.
you now.
Not
Love
married.
you, sis. Thank y'all. Go to
Thank
her
you
website.
so much.
It's been a pleasure. My pleasure. I appreciate you. All right, girl. We'll see you soon. Take
All right.
care. God bless
Bye.
you. Y'all go support her. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I most certainly did. Got a lot of food for thought, food for the soul, food for the cleanup of the soul. So all of us have been through failure. All of us have lived with fear. Some of us are still there right now in this season, facing anxiety. Her book is a great way to help you process it. Therapy is a great way to help you process it. Thank you to all those. Thank you to the sponsor of the stream. Some Breeze came through, blessing with the super duper chat. Thank you so much. There's a Cash App if y'all want to give. And if you like this type of content, go ahead and check me out on the patreon.com. I want to say big up one more time to all those watching on the Suzette Speaks show channel this beautiful Saturday. Yes, rising from the ashes like the phoenix. Oh, Andrew says he'll buy one now. Thank you. Big up yourself. He always support the authors. Thank you, Andrew. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for always being so supportive. Appreciate it. Thank you, says Kim. Yes, all her social media is in the description. So for those watching again on Jamaicans.com, Suzette Speaks Facebook page, or on my YouTube channel, hit the like button before you go. Thank you. Happy Resurrection Sunday to you. Nice to see you, Seek. I gotta say, I love a long goodbye, girl. But I love y'all. Appreciate the support. Just the gratitude of being here. I just want to sit in that for a second. Thank you, God, for this favor. Thank you, God, for this moment, this exchange that's happening right now. Hopefully it helps somebody. That was the intention. All right. Love y'all again. Favor After Failure and Fear by guest author, Miss Mya Auguste, MissMyaAuguste.com. All right. And as I said, hit the like button before you go. Have a fantastic Easter, everybody. Thank you, Sunbreeze. I appreciate you. Chef say he feel at home. Now y'all might be some kinfolk. He dropping, talking about I spoke to this one, I spoke to that one. Check the chat. Somebody he know his cousin down there. Chef making contacts. I love it. I love it. I love y'all so much. Again, thanks, RM. Thank you. Thank you, Sunbreeze, for making this possible for me to do. All right. Coming up next week, I will see you Monday. I'm going to be interviewing Developing Dad. He's a fantastic YouTuber. Love him. Developing Dad, we're going to talk about how do you know he's ready. Whew. Y'all, we don't want to be fooled by the counterfeit. We want to know the signs that a man is ready to actually make a commitment to you, right? Be in a committed relationship and hopefully into a marriage. That's what we're talking about, right? So want to see you Monday, Developing Dad. I think it's 7 Eastern, right? And then I think I'm going to have Sir Hale Speaks on during the week. We haven't kind of finalized that yet. I might be doing some traveling towards the end of the week. So Sir Hale, hold tight. I hope to have him on either, I think we probably say Wednesday, Thursday. Sir Hale Speaks. And then I know for sure I have a couple shows coming up at the end of April. Stay tuned. I don't have to tell you everything today. But yeah, Monday for sure. Monday, go ahead. It's already posted. Set the reminder. Monday at 7, right? Click that reminder on my YouTube channel so you can join us for How Do You Know He's Ready on Monday. All right. Love and blessings. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your support. Happy Easter. All right. Take care. See you very soon. Take care, everybody.